This is Skull Babylon, going through the Stargate, going through the portal, once again. So, this is actually a video dream log, and I haven't done one of these in quite some time. I'll include a link for all the ones that I've done in the past, and just recently rolled out of bed and just want to be able to share this one with you while it's still fresh, and there's a good reason as to why I'm sharing this. I've kind of been on and off with my dreams in terms of remembering them, though I do try to write them down quite consistently. Dreams are an incredibly important thing. The fact that we are learning while we're awake is only half of our story. There's a lot that we can learn while we're asleep, and oftentimes dreams are a chance for the universe to be able to communicate back onto ourselves. And it's not just everything within our dreams is not just purely ourselves, our identity, but there's a chance for other aspects of the bigger self, of other people, of other intelligences to be able to come in and communicate. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to be able to share this experience, this dream story with you, because I don't think it's a message that was meant just for me. So I actually went to sleep. I did yoga yesterday, and that was awesome. Then I went to sleep and had some dreams, was able to remember them, but nothing too substantial, nothing that I felt like sharing. So then I went back to sleep again, and then I had a particular dream that I felt was quite relative to be able to share with the people here. And a big reason is because our good friend Pheonyx was in the dream that I had, and when I went back to sleep with the intention of like all right, let's see what I can bring. Let's see what I can bring to the surface. Like, I want to be able to bring something back without, I wasn't just going to sleep just because I was trying to like be super comfortable and curl up into my own bed and spend more time there. But like, no, I was doing work. I was like, all right, time to like go into the astral and try to like bring something back. And I did, which I guess has a lot to do with the fact that that's what I asked for, so that's what came to me. When I was asleep earlier, a bunch of stuff happened, nothing really too relative. There was like this like weird party that I was at. I was like trying to catch a bus at some point with some friends. Some guys were talking about magic and stuff, something to do with a volcano, I think. Nothing super congruent. When I went back to sleep the next time, I fell asleep. It was probably for like 90 minutes or whatever, but while I was there, I try and remember it as I'm talking about it. But basically, like, I didn't imagine, but I was dreaming that like I was at like almost like a memorial. I was at like this place. It felt like a place that actually exists in a park where near I live, but I don't think it's actually there. But it was like some sort of memorial place. And then I was there, and I spent a long time thinking to myself there. And then eventually, some of my friends started to show up. And they were actually like in the area, and they were doing parkour. They were doing free running. And parkour and free running is like the whole ninja side of who I am, which I think is a big reflection of what a lot of this journey is about in terms of being able to flow through our environment and be able to master our senses. And they were talking, and they were like, we need to make a new group. Like, there's already a parkour group where we live, but we should make another group. We should make a group that's like more specific to scenarios, one that's actually like trying to really go a little bit further and be a little bit more specific with what it is that we're setting out to do. And I was like, yeah, that's a pretty cool idea. And they were doing like a few flips and stuff here and there. And then eventually I saw Pheonyx, and he was there, and he was sitting. And it was weird because it was almost like he was like a statue for a while. Like it wasn't him. It was like a statue of him, and he was like wearing. There's an iconic picture. Some of you are quite familiar with it, and he's just like standing there like this, and he's just got a nice smile on, and he's wearing white, and it was kind of that. And Pheonyx, me and him met in person during the 3 Days of Light event. And he's very intelligent, very of the heart teacher, has a lot to share. And he was also on the radio show once. If anybody wants to go back, they can check out that and get more of a feel of who he is. And There's also the memorial, like the tribute video that I did that links into all his videos. So again, I just want people to be able to understand who this person was. But it's what he said, it's what I got out of the dream that really sort of stuck with me. And again, like there's not a whole lot to this dream in terms of details, but the big thing was that like when he was there, like when he was talking, like I was actually, it took a while, but like I actually started crying like in my dream, which is very interesting for me because like in terms of death, in terms of grief, I'm not usually always the one to cry. Like honestly, like when my grandparents passed away, when two of my three grandparents who passed away, like I didn't, well, no, that's, I mean, I don't feel like I cried as much as I could have, or something like that. And a lot of that has to do with like my perception of death, like the idea, and I've been around death, like I used to work at a cemetery growing up. So a big part of me was that like when I saw a person die, it wasn't like, oh, I'm sad for their loss. It was like, I am happy that they are relieved of their suffering. And now they're like with us from like another place where they can actually help us in a way that otherwise they couldn't have if they were stuck in their bed, sort of thing. But in this case, and I kind of feel that's the same with Pheonyx too, because he was in a coma for quite a while. And his passing, I mean, it's hard to say what his recovery would have been had it been another story, but again, that's another story. But his passing enabled him to be able to help us more so than what he was able to help us as, simply from being comatose in a hospital bed. And so in the dream, I was crying. I was really like emotionally just like, and it felt so real. Like I mean, within that state, I didn't feel like I was dreaming, of course, and it really felt like I was crying, and I was like really just crying and just letting it all out and just pouring out these emotions and stuff like that. And it's hard to say exactly what he said to me, but there was a word, and I saw it in my dream as I was waking up, and I was trying to write it down. And the word that I ended up writing down in my dream journal was, it's not like a real word, but it's really close to a real word. And then I actually deciphered it into like what I took the meaning out of it as. And there's another symbolic aspect of the dream that tied in with this. I'll explain in a second. But the word was like Prepárense, Prepárense, or something like that. Like I said, it's not like a real word, but it was like Praprincy, or something like that. It was something really weird. But I wrote that down, and like, well, first of all, I wrote it down in my dream, which is kind of funny because I like saw it in my dream. It was like right in front of me, and then I was like, I have to write this down so I can remember it. So I wrote it down in my dream, and then like a moment later, I like woke up in real life, and I was like, oh, I have to write it down again because that was just the dream that I was writing in. So I wrote it down, and then I did some searches on it, and what I wrote down wasn't a real word, but the closest thing to it is Prepárense, Prepárense, and or like preparo, and these are all like sort of derivatives of the same word. There's like multiple different variations of it, but it means to prepare. It means to prepare oneself, to prepare one's senses. And this was the message that I got out of this. And there's also another aspect to the dream, a very symbolic aspect. I saw a sword, and I think Pheonyx must have been showing it to me, but there was a sword, and it was wrapped in cloth. And I was like, okay, you know, like that means something. And then when I think of the sword, I think of the sword as in like, the sword can be multiple things. The sword can be like our words, the sword can be our action, the sword can be our thoughts. And wrapping it in a cloth is, and I did a little bit of searching on this, but when a person going around like back in the day, back in like the Middle Ages and stuff like that, if they needed to have a sword to be able to draw really quickly, having it in a sheath wasn't actually the most effective way. So like if you have like a sword on your back and you have it in a sheath, you would have to go shink, and you'd have to pull it up all the way like that, and that might take one more second necessary than what in a battle would result in you getting killed. So what they would actually do is that they would take a sword, they would wrap it in cloth so that it would protect it from the weather elements, and then they would hook it onto their back, and they would have it just as like a hook release mechanism. So rather than having to pull it from a sheath, they would twist it like that, and then it would release from the hooks, and the cloth would simply fall off. And then from there, just like ching ching, and then it would be like right and ready into action, and then they would pick up the cloth afterwards. So the cloth is like a very symbolic thing in itself. So I mean, just wrapping the sword in a cloth, and going back to like what I saw, like the preparance thing. And a lot of you who have gotten to know me over these past many years of myself being involved with this work, preparing is what I'm here to help us do. And the fact that Pheonyx was like speaking to me in my dream, like Pheonyx was a pretty supportive person of what I was doing. He saw what I was trying to do. And what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to prepare us. I'm trying to prepare us for tomorrow. Tomorrow metaphorically, tomorrow symbolically, tomorrow in the sense that we can wake up tomorrow and choose how to live our life. We don't have to say this is how it's going to be. We can prepare ourselves to choose how it's going to be. And by preparing our senses, we are helping other people. We are becoming more of who we are. So the sword is what we carry with us. The sword is our action. The sword is our character, our emotions. And wrapping that sword is protecting it and also preparing it for when we need to draw it in that time of action. And remember, a sword doesn't always necessarily mean like a violent thing. A sword can be used for cutting. It can be used for like releasing chains. It can be used for opening a latch and opening a gate and clearing a path. And again, kind of like tying in with the wolf aspect of myself, visionary and pathfinding is a big part of what I am. Like a lot of what I'm doing, a lot of what we are doing is no one's ever done it before. And that's why it's going to work. And I know that's a line from the Matrix. I know Neo says it. It's like Trinity says, he's like, Neo, no one's ever done anything like this before. And Neo says, and that's why it's going to work. Because what I'm doing is coming from the heart. It is not just something, I've said this in the past video, it's not just something I'm doing because someone told me to do it. It's something that I feel as an innate duty. Something that I am drawn to, something that I know certain things have to happen in order for more things to happen later. I know I have to prepare things so that other things can be built upon the foundations of that previous experience, of that previous preparation. So kind of going back to like what the other part of the dream was, it was myself in this one like memorial, and it was almost like a Stonehenge thing. It really was. And my friends were coming, and they were coming one at a time. And the friends of my dreams are the friends who are with me right now. And when I talked about preparing like a special like parkour team, like this, I've had people in psychic mediums talk to me in past lives. And I've been piecing it together over time. And it's important for us to be able to create our own mythos and not to be directly attached to it, but rather to be able to draw meaning and draw inspiration from it. But you tell me if this resonates with you. But I've been told in the past that there's a connection that I have with the Knights of the Round, with the Knights of the Round Table. There's a connection that I have with Merlin, with the Merlin. Like someone told me this, like they said like you were actually very close to Merlin, like you were learning from him. I wasn't Merlin, but I was very close to him. And then if you tie this in with like mythology and stuff like that, you get stories of like King Arthur and everything. And King Arthur was like friends with Merlin. He was learning from him along the way. They grew up together and stuff. And the Knights of the Round, like what was that about? Like that was about like a group of people coming together, expressing their voice and wanting to see a better future for everyone. And that is not much different from what we are already doing and from what I have been diligently working towards is building these round circle tables, building these places and these spaces for us to be able to practice expressing ourselves, because it all comes down to practice. It all comes down to preparation. It's not about choosing what ideal we stick by, like what is like the right path. It is like what are people bringing? What are people bringing to this circle? What are the ideas, what are the actions that they need to take where they are that is more right? Because there is no one answer. We're all looking in at truth from multiple perspectives. Truth lies at the center of the table. We sit around it and we look in and we say, this is how I'm getting there, this is how I'm getting there, this is how I'm getting there, as we all continue to work our way home. So again, like, I just want to thank everybody who is involved with this. And I know this might sound like I'm not trying to, this video isn't one of the videos that I'll be trying to get out there like super virally. I'll share it around a bit. If you want to share it, that's cool. But the people who are listening to this message are the people who are most likely going to be able to resonate with it, and especially those of you who are close to Pheonyx. Like, much love and blessings to you, because I want to be able to take the experience of being with him and to say that yes, he is still with us. Yes, he is still guiding us. Yes, he is still very much invested in what each and every one of us are doing as we work towards this objective. And the fact that there is an objective is something that I feel very strongly about, and it's something that motivates me and drives me. It's not like I'm saying like, oh, why am I doing this? I'm just trying to get YouTube hits and do stuff like that. Like, no, there is an objective. And the objective is the fact that the spark is within each and every single one of us. And that can be awakened. Every single person can be awakened. No matter how much mud they have covering their heart, that mud can simply be cleared away. And it can be cleared away in an instant, or it can be cleared away slowly over time. That as it does, more of that light, more of that truth of who we are, as more than our physical body, as spirit, as soul, as cosmic etheric beings in this physical form to foster in this experience, that shines through. And that is part of the objective, and not just because I want people to wake up, because I want people to wake up so that we can help build a better future for tomorrow. I kind of joke about being from the future sometimes, and I sort of joke about it because it's my way of saying that I'm not entirely sure whether or not I'm joking, because there's a part of me that can feel so connected to the fact that there is something worth standing up for. There is that future, and the big reason why I do what I do is not just because of this generation, but because I want to create a future generation for my children and my children's children, and theoretically even a future that I myself can reincarnate into, and to have that experience for the universe itself. Because right now, what is happening on Earth is being seen by everyone. If you think about the idea that there are planets out there in the galaxy, this is happening on Earth for the first time. Nothing like this has really happened. Civilizations have risen and fallen, but what is happening on Earth is a very unique circumstance, and I feel that we have the attention of a little bit more than ourselves. Perhaps everyone might be a bit of a stretch, but I think what is happening on Earth is going to ripple out. So it is part of our cosmic duty to be able to put forth our best effort, and this is something that will take time. But every day it's worth it. And every day that we put forth that effort, it's creating that change. And that change, that potential for change, is in each and every one of us. And I woke up this morning and I saw this next to my computer. And this was like written by my lady friend. And she just wrote on the back of it. She just wrote in this circle, and I'll show it to you. And I'm not even sure like what prompted her to write this or where she even got it, but it's in a circle with arrows, and it says, question, observe, understand, exist. And I just felt like I'd seen it yesterday and I didn't even read it. It was just there, but I think it's a reason for me to pick it up now. The idea of question, observe, understand, exist. Question, observe, understand, exist. Because it is the question that will drive us. It is always the question. Solutions are not simply permanent within a single answer. Questions are where it's at. So the more we question, the more we observe, the more we understand, the more we exist. And existence is why each and every single one of us are here. So that's why we gotta do what we gotta do. Dream properly. Live properly. Question, observe, understand, exist. So again, just thank you so much to everyone who's involved with this, who's standing with me, who can see that there's something going on here. And believe me, as big as it is, it's not something that'll be over within a single day. Like, this is ongoing. This is going to take a while, and that's why the more people who we can have involved with this, the more momentum that gets added behind it. A lot of people will ask, like, this whole paradigm shift thing, like, what's the objective? What is the end goal? The end goal is to not have an end goal. I mean, yes, you can look at it in layers and say that the end goal is to create a better future. But the objective is the fact that this in itself is a social experiment. This is an experiment. This is not about trying to obtain a single outcome. This is about creating an environment where even I myself cannot fully predict what will come out of it. But by simply creating it, we are creating the space for the universe itself to express itself within. And through that, truth will shine through. It's not about whether it fully meets like our expectations or your expectations, because truth is truth, and truth can withstand the bullshit. So like Terence McKenna says that. So create a space for truth to come through. And that space is the radio show. That space is the website. That space is the public conversation circles. That space is the forums. That space is the internet. The space is right here. So prepare your senses. Not just for me, not just for you, not just because Pheonyx wants us to, but for those little ripples that are going to turn into big waves in ways that we cannot even see. It's beyond our immediate perception, but it is all being seen. Everything is being recorded. So remember that. So I want to end off the video, but before I do, I want to be able to ask you for help. And it's kind of a weird thing to do, but it needs to be done. If you are with me, if you are supporting this project, then one of the things that we will need to talk about, because it does come up time and time again, is the generation of financial energy that can be used to support the production of the website and of the radio show and of the stuff that we gotta do. And some people will say, like, simply envision abundance and it will come to you. Oh, believe me, we already have abundance, because abundance is not simply measured in financial. But we do need to address the issue. And the way that I think about it is that I need to ask you, because if I don't ask you, it would be selfish of me. Think about it this way. This is the best metaphor I can describe. If an athlete injures his ankle and doesn't tell anyone, is he helping the team? No. He's being selfish, and he's actually hurting the team because he is not able to perform at the optimal efficiency. So the weight that I carry through the fact that I'm willing to live at home for quite a while and I'm still paying rent here in my house, and I still got to pay the bills, and I still got to pay the bills for the website. And when we don't have funds through the project, through people donating and giving their energy, then that's coming out of my energy. And that's what I'm saying. If we can all contribute, then it means that we don't have to be brought back to this conversation consistently, and we can focus more on the other things. But it is something that we need to address because it demands our teamwork, it demands our cooperation. And again, like the simplest idea, and this is such an easy solution, but if everybody who listened to the radio show donated $1, that would be more than enough. And the fact is that I don't want this money just for myself. I want this energy so that I can give it back. If we literally have more money than we need, it's going to be put right back into the community, and put back into the community through things of shift buttons, through the fact that we can give more shift buttons away. And those of you familiar with the shift buttons know that those are tools, those are swords. Those are something that we can use to immediately manifest within our reality in very real ways, to hack the matrix. So again, I just had to mention that, because it is something that if you're listening to this, I need you to know that that's part of the issue. That's part of the way that we're going to enable this process to succeed. So we'll have to talk about it again, but don't let that take away from what this message is about. As a dream log, this is about the dream and the experience that I had. And if there's more dreams that I have, I'll be sure to share them with you. But just reminding you and inspiring you that there's so much. There's so much that we have already done. There's so much that we are doing right now. There's so much that we have yet to even fathom. The most important thing that we can do is to be able to trust each other, to be able to know that this is a circle that we stand within, and that when we stand side by side one another, and we stand there with a shield, and we stand there with a sword, we're not just protecting ourselves, but we are protecting those who stand with us. And don't use the word protect in the sense that more like strength, more like armor. Find your armor, find your strength, find what you need to prepare yourself for the psychological battles ahead. These are all metaphors. Back in the day, like medieval times, soldiers lived far less like metaphorically, in the sense that when they went to battle, they went to battle. When we go to battle, we go out into society and into culture, and we are tested psychologically. We are tested by the arrows coming at us through society and through advertisement, things trying to draw our attention. And how we maintain our center is by being very conscious of where our focus is at any given moment. Advertisers will pay millions of dollars to take away that focus from you. The most important thing that you can do is to maintain your choice, your conscious choice of where that focus is. And the more that you can choose where to put it, the more that direction will grow. Anything that you put your attention towards, it will grow. So put your attention in on yourself, put your attention in on your community, and it will grow. Put your attention in on this project, and it will grow. And it is growing. It's going to continue to grow. So again, the infinity within me sees, honors, and respects the infinity within you. Thank you again to everybody who is involved with this. Thank you again for taking the time to watch this. Thank you again for allowing my heart to connect with yours. Words are just one form of communication. Through the magic of the internet, emotions, fifth dimensional energy can be transmitted, can be replicated on your end. So hear more than just my words. Listen to my soul as it speaks to yours, because if you are listening to this video, you are amongst a very unique and exciting group of people who have chosen to work together. We are a soul group, we are a soul family. And we have chosen to find each other. We have chosen to be here at this time. And there's more of us out there. There's more of us that we will continue to find. So I encourage you to find those who are closest to where you are, to build that tribe as we continue to build this global tribe. So I'll end it there. I'm just encouraging you to write down your dreams, to practice your own dream recollection, to practice whatever you need to do to be able to remember the fact that we are dreaming right now. And as much as we can create within the dream realm, equally so we can create within this realm. because we're doing it every single moment. So again, namaste, one love, peace. See you in the future.